Anyway, I'm putting this little video out here because over the past few years, I've amassed a little bit of knowledge or insight into weddings and some of the funny quirks that happen while they go on. So if you don't know me, my name is Carlo DeLeon, and I'm a musician here on Maui, primarily doing weddings, and I do hundreds of them a year, barring any kind of weird pandemic. And I've been fortunate to see some of the things that I think are not super beneficial and some things that are beneficial. And if you are a fellow wedding musician, and I can give you a few tips on what I think is helpful in getting successful in this industry, then that's what this is for. And so I'm just here on my lunch break from my regular day job, and so I hope some of these tips will be helpful for you. And so here's a couple of them if I'm just talking from a wedding musician standpoint. So a few of the things that have helped me progress fairly quickly, I guess, in this industry is not necessarily on the creative side or the music side. It's more of the professional, boring office side. And then it has more to do with responsiveness in emails, inquiries, text messages, those kinds of things. So the quicker you can respond back to requests, it seems to be the more attentive you are, the more reliable you appear, and the more the coordinators and couples feel confident that you are going to do a good job when the actual wedding comes around. So that's the first tip I would say for musicians. Also, the devil's in the details. So I like to get as much information up front as possible. So that's time frames, if they want a specific instrument like an ukulele or guitar, song options, all those things that you can get out of the way ahead of time, alleviate some stress from the actual day. So as many of the things as you can get out and ironed out the details before, then it just makes things a little smoother. So if you are a musician here and you want to kind of get in the industry, that's a valuable trait to have. Another obvious one is be on time, get there early. When I first started, I thought maybe the skill level and the music would be the most important part, but a lot of the times it's really just the boring logistical part. Making sure you show up on time, you know your songs, you're accountable for the clothes you wear, you look the part. All those things are super important. But the main reason why it's important is because you're just trying to alleviate stress from the day from the coordinators. They have 1,000 things that they're doing. And if you can reduce one thing, which is the music side, and they know that you're going to be have all those qualities taken care of, then they don't have to worry about you, and they feel comfortable having you on the scene. And from the wedding side, what are the 3 favorite venues to play at? Well, Oluwalu Plantation House is a beautiful place to play. It's also nice, has a nice wide open space. That would probably be one of the first non-resort style. Haiku Mill is also a very beautiful place. It's like a fairy tale, very green. And what would the third place be? I'll have to get back to you. I'm not too sure exactly what the third place would be if I had to choose one. But yes, but if you are attending a wedding, these are more of the funny things that I witness while I'm standing on the side. If you want to be helpful during the wedding, here are a few of the funny tips. No one that I've ever come across have found that your iPhone picture or video is something that is so incredible that they're gonna wanna post that on their wall and blow it up. They don't care about your iPhone photo. They hire professionals, which cost lots of money. They're worth every penny, but that's who they wanna have these beautiful photos with. They don't care if you get a super nice shot with your phone. Keep the phones and the photos of the event with your friends and family, hanging out at the table, that's the part that's valuable. During the ceremony, just be in the moment. Enjoy the memory that you can make while you're witnessing it, and don't spend your time on your phone taking a video. Their videos are never good. The photos are never as good as from the professionals. So just save yourself some time. Save the phones for later, and just enjoy. Be in the moment. Be present. Listen to the music, the sounds, the smells, the flowers. Listen to what they're saying when they're saying their vows. That's more important than your photo that you're gonna get on your phone. So most of the time now they say that at the beginning, oh, this is an unplugged ceremony, and they always have someone just trying to sneak up. Also, just logistically, if the professional is taking a beautiful photo and you have 400 people or even 80 people with their hands up, it just doesn't look nice. Save that for the professionals, you know. Another funny, odd thing that happens a lot of the time is, and this is just my perspective, now people love to have like family friends or an uncle or do the ceremony. In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, hire a professional officiant. They know how to do it. I mean, this is their job, their passion. They know how to position you properly. They know how to make sure that you are getting the best photos in terms of where you're standing. They know how to make sure you remind people to sit down. You don't know how many weddings I've been to where the family officiant forgets to tell people to sit down. It happens like 75% of the time. It's probably because they're nervous. You know, that's not their profession either. And so they don't, you know, they're kind of just trying to get through it. But in my professional opinion, hiring an officiant to do the service always makes things a little smoother. They know how to move from one segment to the next segment smoothly. They know how to position hands for photos, for the rings. They know how to get the groomsmen to walk not in front of everybody to hand you the rings. They come from the back. They know all these little tricks and tips that they've amassed over their experience to make sure that you have the best photos and video possible. They also tend to make the ceremonies, not always, but often, a little shorter. Having a friend or family do the ceremony, they always include nice stories or personal experiences between the couple, which are cute to hear, but you know, for the most part, we're in the tropics. It's hot, and the wedding times and ceremonies are getting earlier and earlier, and so you have your guests sitting in 90+ degree weather, you know, hearing these wonderful stories of your childhood, and they are hot, and I can see it on their faces while I'm standing there that they're, you know, you want them to enjoy the ceremony. That you don't want them to just try to survive. They're not listening because all they can concentrate is on how hot it is. And so hiring a professional officiant to me is the way to go. Now, everybody's different. Obviously, you might have someone that's well-versed, but this is just, I'm speaking in generalities. I would say that hiring a professional officiant makes things a little smoother. You get what you pay for. This is another big tip. If you want to hire the photographer or a wedding videographer of your dreams, do it. Spend the money, because it's so stressful. I know for my own wedding, it was so hectic and busy and stressful that you don't get to sit there and enjoy the moments. It's difficult. So you just have to rely on your photos and videos. So if you have a photographer that you absolutely adore or a video that you think creates the best visuals, find the money to do it. Spend the money where it matters, because they are going to be the ones that you can look back on and really try to jog those memories. It's tough in the moment to remember all these little things, but if you have someone that you love, spend the money, find the money. You might need to cut some other things, but photos and videos are very, very important in being able to relive those experiences. It also will allow the people that are trying to take videos on their cell phones to just put that away and say, hey, don't worry, I have a video that's going to be professionally done, and you can share that instead of you trying to share your, you know, shaky hand video from the, you know, 7th row back in the wind. It just, you know, leave it to the professionals. That's like the theme. Leave it to the professionals. What else? Another thing that's valuable. Oh, just some weird quirk. When you're saying your vows, when people do vows, maybe I'm old school, but I enjoy it when they're reading the vows from a paper. Like, I've seen people bust out iPads to read their vows. I mean, I know maybe I'm old, I don't know. It just seems like reading things from a phone or an iPad is just a little bit, like the technology just doesn't fit. You know, write it on a piece of paper. You know, put it in your pocket. It's always cute to pull it out or whatever it is. But yeah, reading things from technology is kind of weird. Another good tip is getting ceremony sound, which is like wireless lapel mics for your officiant and your groom typically. If you're getting married anywhere near the ocean, the ambient white noise of water rushing on rocks is loud. And if you don't have ceremony sound set up and you have a decent amount of guests, they're not going to be able to hear all the vows. They came all this way to celebrate your love, and they're not going to be able to enjoy it because they're going to be straining, especially if you have any older guests. You know, I see the cupping of the ear. I hear people looking at each other saying, I can't hear, you know? And so, you know, it costs a little bit more, a little bit extra funds to hire someone to do that service, but it's super valuable. Also, the wind carries things away, so you can't hear them well, and it's the same thing again. You're gonna get what you pay for. So you pay for a little extra money to get the ceremony sound set up, and then it's no problem. People hear it clearly. They're part of it. The worst part is when you see people tune out because they can't hear, and they're daydreaming, they're wandering, then they're wondering about how hot it is. You know, why is it so sunny? How come we don't have umbrellas? Why is it so early? You know, I get to hear all these weird little comments on the side, but you know, spend the money where it's super necessary, and creating those memories and valuable experiences is what this whole day is about. It's celebrating your love, but also being able to share it with others. And you want to try to eliminate as many of those weird, you know, little quirks as possible. Another interesting tip for the music side is first dances. In my experience, some couples like to do choreographed dances to their first dance song. Now, I'm not like, you know, I'm not gonna be on whatever, MTV, I don't think MTV's even around anymore, but YouTube for like the best musicians of all time. But what I do know is it's very difficult to play a live song just like the studio recording, exactly like you may have practiced in your group with your partner to do this performance. So if you're planning on doing like a choreographed dance, unless this musician that you're hiring is playing it exactly like the studio recording, it's going to be difficult for you to dance in time with all your beats live, because musicians, you know, they take liberties. They play an extra vamp in the chorus, or they might rearrange some of the song in order to fit the time frame, and it's difficult for that to match. So if you're doing a choreographed dance, a musician can always plug in a song and have that portion. They can play live the whole evening, but if you're going to do one of these dances, sometimes it's better to just have the studio recording that you danced with, practice with. It makes more sense. Another issue is the timing of the first dance. You know, a lot of time couples are nervous being in front of people dancing. You know, everybody has their own little thing, but dancing I think most songs fall between like 3.5 to 4 minutes. That's a long time, especially if you're doing a first dance. You're doing a father-daughter, or the bride, father, and the groom, mother dance. This section of performance and dancing can get like 15-20 minutes long, and your guests are enjoying it, but they're just sitting and watching, you know. So you might want to think finding the best portion of the song as possible, and not having to rely on just playing the entire song, because it is. Every time a couple has said, you know, we want the whole song played, I'll play and I'm singing, and then like about halfway through, I'm getting like the side eyes, like, you know, oh, we're about done with this, you know, wrap it up. So, but if you've chosen your the best part is toward the end, and you're not going to get there, you know. So let your musician know, hey, I like the first verse and the chorus and maybe the second verse, and that's pretty good. Usually about 1.5 to 2 minutes of each dance is more than enough. It's more about making sure the photographers or videographers get their section. So the musician's gonna have to work with them to make sure, hey, you know, you gotta give them the look and say, you got it. You know, you need more time for this so they can get their shot. You know, it's all like a dance between all the vendors and the couple. You're trying to do the best you can to make this all a cohesive thing, and it's always interesting because, you know, I'm not a coordinator, I'm just a musician, and for the most part I'm just standing on the side. But I just get to witness all these things. I hear from the crowd, the guests, I hear some of the stresses from the vendors, the coordinators. So you're kind of like a fly on the wall, and it's just kind of interesting. You know, I picked up a lot of the information along the way. Everybody, yeah, you definitely don't want to bust that iPad out of your suit jack pocket. That's for sure. It's gonna be a big jacket. Also, for your guests, if you are the couple planning the wedding, the best part that, not the best part, but an important feature is to let them know if the wedding is gonna be early. Like I mentioned before, it is hot here, especially now. It is summer. I did a wedding just the other day. It started at 4 o'clock and it must have been 95 degrees. And these people were wonderful. They had beautiful suits on, but it was so hot that all anybody could talk about was how hot it was. So if you push up your ceremony time so that way you can enjoy as much, you know, quote unquote reception time as possible, just let your guests know, hey, it's gonna be hot. I appreciate you coming. Maybe we should get some umbrellas, or, you know, make sure you drink lots of water. But I hear over and over again, I can't believe how hot it is. Did you know it was gonna be this hot? I didn't know it was gonna be this hot. And it's like, it's Hawaii in the summer at 4 o'clock near the beach. It's gonna be hot, you know? So just make sure you tell your guests, if you're planning on doing this late, this early wedding, that, you know, it's gonna be hot. You know, plan for that. Bring an extra shirt. I've seen guys fully sweat entirely through their whole nice shirt. Oh, this is one for a musician for sure. Learning songs are difficult. Now, you know, we're not going to be able to know every single song that's possible, and most songs are fairly learnable, but they have a lot of, you know, there's millions of songs. So don't be super surprised if a musician can't play or doesn't have the time to learn a very, very unique, special song. We obviously try our best, but it's tough. You know, a lot of us have multiple jobs. You know, I have a job, I work as an electrical contractor. There's other musicians that are firemen, police officers, teachers. They have all these jobs. So this is not their only thing. And taking us time to learn a song takes hours. It's hours. And so be compassionate about what is possible, what's not possible. Another thing is, you know, you kind of have to read your musician. If you're hiring someone like me, for example, I don't specialize in Hawaiian music. I didn't grow up with like a Hawaiian music mentor, so it's not a skill that I have in spades. It took me a while to get over that. You know, I felt like self-conscious because I didn't know a lot of the music, but the more I played, I realized, you know, that's not my thing. And if that is what you want, there are amazing musicians on Maui that fit that bill. That's cool. There is more than enough events that you can find these Hawaiian musicians that specialize in that. That's not my jam. And likewise, I've had people contact me and want me to play like classical guitar music. And I try to be very upfront. You know, I don't play classical like Spanish guitar. That's just not my thing. I can't. And they're like, well, can you learn it? It's like, well, no, you know, I can't. You can find someone that fits that bill. So because Maui has a diverse set of musicians, you're gonna find somebody that fits whatever you need. So, you know, don't be shy in saying, you know, if the initial booking and the initial communications didn't work, then after, you know, you're not really what we're looking for. We're looking for someone that plays more traditional slack key Hawaiian music, for example. That's no pressure, or you know, I don't feel bad, or there's no hurt feelings. Hire the person that does the best job. I think as someone that's in this industry, you just want the people that are coming here to have the best experience. And if that was with another musician, it's perfectly fine. You know, no worries. But yes, another thing for us to remember as a side note is this is a job, and so we can get a little jaded by the volume of weddings that we're doing. You know, you might be on day 6 of 8 weddings, and for you, for me, it would just be another day at the office. But it's not, because these weddings and couples have planned this. You know, some people might plan this from when they were a child, from when they were a little girl or a little boy, planning their dream wedding. And so it's important for them. And I have to remind myself that this day, while it might just be a wedding for me, what's up, Jeff, is important for them. And they spend thousands of dollars doing it. So don't treat it as it's just a job. It's a big deal. Treat it like that. When you come here, do your best, be professional, be kind, do the work. It's an important day for them. Make it so, you know. Yeah, so, you know, there is a lot of things that your wedding coordinator is going to be able to tell you. Obviously, most things filter through them, but it's always interesting to reach out to your other vendors and pick their brain and find out what challenges or things that they see that we might have a little bit more insight to. The music side is just a portion of the day. It's obviously not everything, but for us, we want to make sure our services to you are as smooth and as memorable as possible. So whatever we can do to make your day that much better, I think we're all kind of on the same bandwidth. Yeah, that's kind of the cues from a simple old wedding singer like me. If you could reach out to me if you need to. My email is musicbycalo@gmail.com. You can also find me on all these things, Instagram and Facebook, and musicbycalo.com. You can go to melly.com and find my album that's there. If you want a physical copy, you can also find or stream any of my music on Spotify or Apple Music, any of those things. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment or DM me or email me, any of those things. I'm more than happy to help you guys through the musical portion of your wedding planning. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging in there. That's funny. I'll probably post this just so other people that couldn't see it can see if they find any value in it. But anyway, my lunch break's almost finishing, so it's time to get on. I appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Take care. Aloha.